You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. We hope you're getting studied up just like that gentleman on the screen there, because it's our first harness show of the season. Live racing this evening from the Meadowlands, as the Arthur J. Cutler is the feature today. But there are plenty of equine stars and human stars on today's program. I'm your host, Acacia Kamon, and thrilled to be joined by a very special guest today, Hall of Fame driver and Hambletonian Society President and CEO John Campbell. John, so happy to have you on today, and we have a lot of fun things to talk about.
Yeah, we sure do, Acacia, and certainly really excited to be on and looking forward to the show.
You have such an incredible resume, as anybody that's ever followed the sport of harness racing certainly knows, including 6 wins in the Hambletonian. But the first one you mentioned when we were talking about putting the show together was the 1995 win, which you won for your brother Jim as trainer of Tag Debut.
Yeah, that was really a special day for the Campbell family. My mother and father were there, my wife Paula, and my 3 daughters, and it's just something that Jim and I couldn't even imagine or dream about when we were kids, and for that to happen, it was just an amazing experience.
That was your 4th Hambo win. You'd go on to win 2 more following that, and I saw a quote where you said it's like winning the Stanley Cup.
It is. It's our Stanley Cup. It's Super Bowl, Kentucky Derby. It's the biggest race we have. There's so much history to it. It was a race that I only read about when I was a kid. So when I was fortunate enough to participate in it and have some success, it was more than a dream come true.
John Campbell, the all-time leading money-winning driver, the youngest U.S. Harness Racing Hall of Fame inductee, incredible list of accomplishments, and that was an incredible mustache on there, too.
Yes, I shaved it off about 3 years ago. My wife, Paula, still has not forgiven me for it, but I had gotten tired of it, and I might grow it back.
Well, we look forward to seeing when that day does come. We're going to kick off our live racing pretty quickly, though. Thanks for sticking with us as we waited for Major League Rugby to conclude on FS2. But our first live race on the program will be the New Jersey Sire Stakes for 3-year-old fillies, the second leg, a 1-mile trot here in the 8th. And we talked about your brother, Jim Campbell. He's the trainer of the One Walkango, and you mentioned Jim will be actually inducted into the Hall of Fame later this year.
Yeah, that's something we're very excited about and proud of him for. Certainly well-deserved, and he's had a tremendous career. This filly, she's got some ability. She'll have to be forwardly placed to hit the board, but if you look at this race, I think By a Round is a standout in here. She was a top filly last year, and she rounded back into form with a real good effort last week, and I think she's going to build off that tonight.
As you mentioned, it seems on paper and looking at the betting board right now that everybody has to get around By a Round, the number 5 in here, the New Jersey Sire Stakes champion. She won leg 1 last week, just has been remarkably consistent.
She has, and you know, there's no reason to think she won't continue that throughout the year. She's a really well-bred filly. Fred Hertrick owns her, and he kept her, and I'm sure he's looking at her as a top broodmare prospect down the road.
We'll see what By a Round can do in here. As far as Trip is concerned, is there any way, given her running style, you would think that maybe some of the other drivers could get a little bit creative to make things a little bit difficult on her?
Well, she does race from off the pace, and I'm sure somebody is trying to get to the front, slow down the pace, and maybe outrun her in the last quarter. But she's got a tremendous burst, and Andrew McCarthy won't be that far off on the 3/4 pole. I still think she's going to have too much power for anybody else in that last quarter.
The second choice is the 6 French Champagne. Ake Svanstead has a very big night coming up with plenty of action, including Southwind Tyrion and Jiggy Jog later in the Cutler. And we'll send out French Champagne here, who could be perhaps the danger to the favorite.
I think so. I think she's the next toughest filly in here. She's coming off a win from her first start, and she will build off of that for sure. Aki, he sends his horses out ready to race the first time, and I think she's the main competition for By a Round.
Has some early speed as well as they line up for this New Jersey Sire Stakes 3-year-old fillies. Here's Ken Workington with the call.
Trotting fillies on gate for racing. Leg 2 division of New Jersey Sire Stakes. Here they come. Off stride the 1, Wall can go. Filly's off and trotting, off stride the 1. Wall can go. French Champagne's out fast. Sassy Zaza on the outside. As Glamorous Hanover's put in play and shoots out here with the Stardust Volo on the rail. Stardust Volo and Glamorous Hanover, those two together as they head to the opening quarter. Eloise just floated away in third position. French Champagne dives in a 4-hole tuck there in front of By Around. And then comes Sassy Zaza and Margin Charge. And way back, the breaker at the gate was Wall Can Go, the distant trailer. Soft opener here, 28-1 for Glamorous Hanover, at 8-1 paves the way across the backstretch. Stardust Volo trotting in second. Eloise is third. French Champagne, a leg 1 winner, is fourth. The other leg 1 winner, By Around, in fifth position. Gapped a bit here. Then Sassy Zaza, Margin Charge, and Wall Can Go. No changes. Single file at the half. Todd McCarthy and Glamorous Hanover paved the way by a length and a half, 56 and 2, 28-1 again. It's Glamorous Hanover controlling it. Perfect 2-hole ride for Stardust Volo and Yannick Gingras around the far turn. Eloise on the inside third. French Champagne edging to the outside fourth. By Around looks to get going on the outside fifth. Then Sassy Zaza, Margin Charge, and Wall Can Go. They're over by 3/4. Glamorous Hanover in front by 2. Here comes Eloise on the outside. Eloise now second. Stardust Volo back to third on the inside. French Champagne is fourth. 3/4 in 1:25. In the stretch drive, Glamorous Hanover looking to go all the way. She scoots off by 3.5. On the inside, it's still Glamorous Hanover. And now a big rally from By Around on the outside is closing in, thundering late. French Champagne between horses. Glamorous Hanover needs, the line is almost there. Glamorous Hanover and Todd McCarthy stolen. Then By Around, French Champagne, and Eloise in 1:52 and 3.
A big upset for these 3-year-old filly trotters as Glamorous Hanover able to just hold off By Around. She was digging in late there, John, and able to pull off the upset in this spot.
Yeah, she got uncontested fractions, and she got some separation at the head of the stretch from By Around. By Around raced really well and just couldn't quite get there, but the fractions and separation at the head of the stretch were the key to that race.
Upsetting the favorite there By Around, just a little bit too much to do late in the stretch. Well, as we mentioned, plenty of excitement coming up today, including the Arthur J. Cutler Memorial, which is the feature on tonight's program. Here's a look at the field, and as touched on, we will get a chance to see the likes of Southwind Tyrion, one of 2 Breeders' Crown winners in this field. And here's Southwind Tyrion back in October at Hoosier, winning the Breeders' Crown Open Trot.
Yes, he got a really good trip. He's drafted in the 2-hole, got out and won, and then he came back and won cutting the mile in the Fan Duel later in the year. So he really rounded into form late in the year. He's a horse that's, I expect him to be forwardly placed off the gate, and as I mentioned earlier, Hockey Svensson, he sends his horses out ready to race the first time. I think he's going to have a good effort tonight.
Aki Svanstead, obviously, with plenty going on, sending out Southwind Tyrion, who he trains and will be driving as well. He also trains Jiggy Jog, the other Breeders' Crown winner in this group. Jiggy Jog, the mare, taking on the boys, as we did see her back in October winning the Open Mares. But we'll welcome in for more on Jiggy Jog, Gabe Pruitt and Jessica Otten, always with us live on the track. Guys, really excited to see what Jiggy Jog can do taking on the boys this evening, as we really saw her have a good year last year.
Yeah, she had a tremendous year last year. I'm really excited to see what she can do as well. You know, this race has a history of mares doing well. And of course, you talk about Jiggy Jog taking on the boys this year. Well, she dominated the boys last year at the age of 4 in that graduate series. I think she's a real contender tonight, Gabe.
No question about it, Jess. And that's always a tough transition from the age of 3 to 4. Wasn't for Jiggy Jog.
Right.
She had 11 starts. She had 8 wins in 3 seconds. She made over $1 million at 4. So she's back and she's ready to roll tonight. This race, as you mentioned, has a long history of mares doing very well. In fact, 4 of the last 9 editions of the Cutler have been won by trotting mares taking on the boys.
Be a Magician, Hannelore, Hanover, Manchego, and Atlanta as well. They've really had a lot of success in here. And talking about that transition from 3 to 4, 4 to 5, you know, that graduate series is designed for those 4-year-olds to kind of grow up and mature in that season, and I think that really helped her, and she did it well doing and taking on those boys.
Yeah, she really did, and she obviously took on even some of the older late in the season.
Yeah.
Once they got out of the 4-year-old restricted races. You know, I just don't really see that being a problem for her. I think it's more of a problem just the missed time. It's her first start of the year. She does have one qualifier under her belt, but is she going to be ready to fire her best shot here at First Asking on the new season?
You know, I heard John saying as well, Aki had one qualifier into 2 of his horses, but he's usually ready to fire first off the bench. We saw that last week in the New Jersey Sire Stakes, leg 1 for the 3-year-old trotters, and it's an interesting race this year because not a whole lot of them have a ton of foundation going into the race.
No, and it's a tricky race to handicap.
Yes.
It's an intriguing puzzle, so to speak, because we do have so many horses coming from different angles, different layoffs. It's going to be a good race tonight. That's the feature here on the Saturday card.
It definitely is going to be a great race, and I think Jiggy Jog can get the job done from post 7. I think I hinted that a little bit with my pink jacket. We'll send it back to Acacia and John to see what they think.
Well, Jess, will certainly be exciting to see if there's a little girl power in today's feature, and that foundation, John, that she mentioned. How important is that for horses as they're kicking off their season?
It is. It's very important. Some trainers put more work into their horses before they race them. Others, would rather race into shape. Aki's, as I mentioned, come ready to race, and I think both those horses, even though it's their first start tonight, I think they're both going to race really well.
And on top of that, you have the winner of last year's Cutler in Venerate here as well to try and defend his title. But that's not the only big race we're going to have on tonight's program. In the New Jersey Sire State for the 3-year-old colts in Geldings in race 10, it features kind of a budding superstar of the game in Karl, who's 1 to 5. He's the early favorite for the 99th running of the Hambletonian.
He is the favorite right now, Acacia, for sure. He and TCI battled the end of last year. TCI is an incredible horse as well. He's had 2 qualifiers and just getting underway. But Karl has got exceptional ability. He's charismatic. He won the Breeders' Crown here last fall at Hoosier very easily and kind of drew away a little bit on TCI, and he's come back exceptionally well. That's always a big question, how they're going to make that step from 2 to 3. And he's obviously in fine form already, and I think it's going to be an easy victory for him tonight.
He's another one that's been incredibly consistent. He's 10 for 11 lifetime with a 2nd place finish. He's been just dominant throughout his career. And talking about girl power for his trainer, Nancy Tactor, who got a Hambletonian win last year with Tactical Approach. She's had another good year and has really done a great job with this horse.
She certainly has. It's it's very difficult to manage a horse when you get one of this ability, and make sure you peak him for the races at the proper time. She's certainly done that, and I can see right now how she's going to approach the Hambletonian, and she's giving him every opportunity to be at his very best that first Saturday in August.
Well, we can't wait to see what the future holds for Karl. And if your name is Karl, there's a perfect hunch bet for you this evening. Here's what else is coming up on tonight's program. As always, today's race is brought to you by our friends at Claiborne Farm. We still have that New Jersey Sire Stakes, the 3-year-old trot featuring Karl, as well as the Arthur J. Cutler Memorial. You can play all of the action on Naira Bets. Sign up today with a $200 deposit match using promo code MATCH200. Just in time for all of the big races. Sign up at NairaBets.com to get your $200 deposit right after your first $200 deposit match right after your first deposit. Want to make sure you're all set for all of the big action coming up this evening. When we come back on America's Day at the Races, a pretty special story of a family's legacy throughout the sport of harness racing that's continuing now in a little bit of a different fashion.
There's a big, bold, beautiful world waiting to be explored by you and your friends, of course. But not just any friends, the best of friends. The kind of friends who let you do you. Because in this world, it's positive vibes only. And when you get in the zone here, you stay a while. These aren't just good times, they're the best of times. And your time is now. So come explore. Resorts World.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, or America's Evening at the Races, you could call it. There's a beautiful shot of Lady Liberty as our program is brought to you by Naira Bets. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Get started at nairabets.com or download the app today. I think that's the Staten Island Ferry. You ever been on the Staten Island Ferry?
I haven't been on a Staten Island Ferry, but I took a cruise down to the Statue of Liberty a couple times.
Oh, pretty cool.
It is very cool.
Beautiful shot of the Statue of Liberty on the Staten Island Ferry. Meanwhile, New Jersey Sire Stakes for the 3-year-old filly trotters. It was an upset. Glamorous Hanover, the 4 able to hold off the favorite by a round in a pretty dramatic stretch.
Yeah, there was just too much separation at the head of the stretch, and By a Round couldn't run her down. I mean, it certainly bodes well for By a Round's future the way she raced, but if somebody else gets some soft fractions, it's hard to come from behind.
$19.40 winner, Glamorous Hanover, pulling the upset there in the 8th. Race 9, a 1-mile pace for 3-year-old colts and geldings coming up. And there's another favorite in McCrunch. We'll see if there can be a bit of an upset in here. McCrunch looking strong on paper, though. Before the break, as we mentioned, a special story that we got a chance to learn a little bit more about, as a family with a strong legacy in the sport of harness racing is carrying on that story in a little bit of a different matter. What started as a fun project during COVID has turned into a successful business that also gives back.
I bought SiegelmanStable.com through Shopify, launched a Shopify. The reason we're here tonight is because of Shopify giving us an opportunity to bring our e-commerce business into a real life setting and give people the opportunity to touch and feel our clothes in person.
Building the off-track betting saloon, allowing people to mark off, what they're going to buy on the betting slips. It all just feels like such a fun way to display the brand and to make commerce exciting.
I think in terms of obviously Siegelman Stable and my dad, you have the racehorse story, the harness story, and his story, but he's always had that additional layer of equine therapy and giving back. And we basically took what he was doing, instead of me getting in behind the horse and training horses or riding horses, I decided to go a different route, and I never got into it other than just living through him and going to the races and going to the track when he was training the horses early in the morning. Siegelman Stable is now in its 2nd iteration, but I think again leans still back into the backbone of what he was passionate about, in addition to training horses, is the equine therapy bit and giving back bit. So I think I'm taking it now in the fashion way, and also still instilling that piece of Siegelman Stable that I think will live longer and longer beyond the training, the driving, the fashion, and what we can do to give back. And I think it all plays a role within the storytelling of Siegelman Stable from the beginning until what it is now.
When he first started doing it, what meant the most to me was that he realized how important equine therapy was to me and how important it was, that side of my stable, that I always opened up the stable to kids, and that he realized how important the charity work was for me. I think it's also a good opportunity to expose racing to people that don't even know what harness racing is actually. It's a whole new world that's wearing harness racing hats that never would have won.
Incredible what Siegelman Stable has been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. And for Max Siegelman, a brilliant marketing mind too. John, putting that to use. And it's so fun to see the success. And as Robbie touched on, getting a chance to see a different generation, different group of people with a harness racing logo.
Yes, we've done an initiative with Max for the last 3 years with the Hambletonian, and those hats have showed up in various places, and it's certainly an audience that we haven't never been before. And I just think it's great. It certainly the giving back part, but it's reaching an audience that, as Robbie said, has no idea about harness racing, and now it's in their minds.
And Robbie, so involved with the therapeutic riding aspect of the sport, particularly veterans with PTSD, for children with various physical, mental disabilities, and the incredible progress of what working with horses can do.
Yeah, horses are amazing, whether it's working with youth or, veterans, anybody troubled seems to gravitate towards a horse. And I've known Robbie for 35 years. I drove horses for him, but he's been doing this for a long time, and I certainly commend him for all the work he's done. And it's amazing to see.
And you can see the pride on his face when he looks at Max talking about the brand, too.
Well, he is very proud of Max, but he's very proud of what he's done and the work that he's done over the years with the veterans.
As he should be. Just wonderful work that he continues to do. A great story, and really, really privileged to get a chance to see a little bit of the insight of what took place to make Siegelman Stable so successful. Here's the field for race 9. Again, 3-year-old colts and geldings, 1 mile pace. McCrunch currently 3-2. Gabe and Jessica, are we going to have a favorite here or potentially another upset?
I think another favorite. Honestly, I've been a fan of McCrunch since we saw him show up here at the Big M, I don't know, 5 or 6 starts ago. Gabe, unraced at 2, and he's just been guns and blazing. I know he shows a few blemishes in his lines, but he is a green colt still.
Yeah, he's made 5 career starts, Jess. He did make a break in stride last time at a stakes event down at Pocono Downs. I did speak to the connections after that. They really don't know why. Sometimes it could be an equipment issue. Other times it could be a mental issue with the horse. So they're really not sure why he made that break in stride. But there's an old saying around the racetrack. Sometimes you have a horse for the course, Jess. McCrunch is 3 for 3 here at the Meadowlands. His only 2 losses came away from this racetrack. He returns to the Meadowlands here tonight. There's no reason to think it won't be all systems go.
You know, speaking of horses that did not race at the age of 2, the Dragon Reborn. I mean, he couldn't have looked any sharper back on May the 4th. He left aggressively. He sat the pocket, 26-4. I mean, look at those qualifying lines as well. 27-3 at the end of the first one, 26-1 at the end of the second one. He just gets stronger and stronger, and he's on the board right now at 4-1.
It's a good price. He's 1 for 1. A little bit of a tougher test tonight for him. We'll see if he can step up and deliver, but he's done nothing wrong. A lot of upside here for this colt at his second career start, and he's got some early speed as well. I expect Andy McCarthy to be aggressive here from post 4.
You know what I like about this race is a lot of horses are trying to get starts into them before the North America Cup and the Meadowlands Pace, and there's plenty of Meadowlands Pace eligibles in here. McCrunch, the Dragon Reborn, Captain Luke. We saw this guy add Lasix last season before taking us by storm in the Governor's Cup elimination and the Governor's Cup final. Those are his only 2 lifetime wins. He had 4 seconds before that. Tony Alani had nothing but great things to say about him. He just needed a little time to mature. That's why the end of his season is so dominant last year.
Yeah, he's been a very nice colt, Captain Luke here. 2 for 12 last season, Jess, but he made over $330,000. So this is a talented colt. My concern is he hasn't raced since, well, around Thanksgiving, November the 25th. So it's a long layoff. You got a couple of qualifiers under his belt, but it's a different task here under the lights at night. We'll see if he's ready to go here off that long layoff.
You know, he had that one qualifier where he went down the road, 52-26. Then he was in to qualify the next week, and Tony scratched him because he had a little bit of blood issue. He had tied up a little bit, so they gave him a week off there, came back last week and qualified, and kind of just gave him a trip around the track. Tony said he feels much better about him coming into tonight. He's healthy, he's happy, and himself coming into the race.
Yeah, and that was just sort of a no-chance trip there. He got away last in that qualifier. That was heavy rains here in New Jersey that morning. So, he did nothing wrong. He sort of just went around the track evenly. I'm like you, that first qualifier was very good. We know the talent is here. It's just a question sometimes when you've been off that long, from a fitness standpoint, is he ready to roll here with these horses that are a little more legged up?
And another one coming off of a pair of qualifiers. Remember the Alamo. He was 2 of 9 last season, banked over $80,000 in the bank, and he danced in plenty of big dances. He was 4th in his Metro elimination, only beaten a length in some quarters there. He was bet down pretty good there. Never really had a chance in the final, had back-to-back third-place finishes down in your parts in Kentucky, but again, only qualifiers coming into these races.
Yeah, that would be my concern, but the connections have high hopes for this guy. One of the 3 here that we just discussed, trained by Tony Alani. Jess, this was a $300,000 yearling purchase. Do remember the Alamo? So they have high expectations for this guy. He is staked up to all the biggest events in the sport this year. My question would be the exact same thing you mentioned. Just will the fitness be there at his first start off the shelf? One thing about it, the price is there. He's 5-1 on the board right now.
Even money on McCrunch, like we had mentioned, unraced at the age of 2, and he's 3 for 3 so far at the Big M. He hasn't really shown us a ton of versatility quality. It just looks like he's got plenty of speed off the gate.
Yeah, if you're looking, all of us at the racetrack, we look for reasons maybe to play against favorites. Now, he's coming off that break in stride. Again, we mentioned that he was at a polka dance. How aggressive will Yannick Gingras be in the bike tonight, coming off a break in stride? Interested to get John's thoughts on that as well. What tactics do we think he'll deploy here, when he's coming off a mistake back in this spot tonight?
Yes, we want to have him rebuild his confidence, I guess is the best way to say it. Gabe and I both like McCrunch at even money. We'll send it back to the desk, Acacia and John.
Justin, Gabe, thank you. Even money on McCrunch. And picking up with what Gabe had mentioned there, John, for a horse that breaks stride and gets back to a big track like the Meadowlands, do you feel like that could be something, getting back to a track that he prefers and the way he covers the ground here?
Yes, it can be a factor. I'm always a little apprehensive when pacers make breaks.
Right.
They shouldn't be making breaks, and I'd be a little. I think going back to what Gabe said, I think Yannick will have to be a little bit more careful with him. He doesn't want to have him make another break. Certainly, when they start making breaks, they can lose their confidence very quickly too. So I would be surprised if he didn't just race him a little more cautiously than normal.
As a driver, are there any sorts of things you can do in the preparation and the warm-up and the equipment to make sure that you have the best chance of moving cleanly?
Well, that's really the trainer's job, but I'm sure Yannick has talked to Nancy Tactor about how he's trained and the equipment changes that she might have made. But again, it's just you have to be a little more careful and just take your time a little bit more, because once those young horses start making breaks, it can snowball on you very quickly.
So if your favorite, McCrunch, potentially has a little bit of an Achilles heel, is there anybody else in the field that you feel like could potentially capitalize on that?
Well, the Dragon Reborn, I think, his first start is very impressive. And if you look at this horse, he didn't race last year, but they obviously thought a lot of him. He's staked to the Meadowlands Pace and the North America Cup, two of our major stakes, so they think a lot of this horse.
Race 9 coming up, a 1 mile pace. We'll see if McCrunch can get the job done as the favorite. Here's Ken Workington.
4-1, 3 and 4. Captain Luke in the Dragon Reborn. Impressive debut from that one. 9-2 on 2. Remember the Alamo. Race 9, 3-year-old pacers on gate, ready for start. Here they come. They're off. Courtship gets the first call. Captain Luke shoots out from the inside with Remember the Alamo and Captain Bazinga on the rail, and they're 4 or 5 deep around that first turn. It is Captain Luke, Captain Bazinga on the inside. Yields to Remember the Alamo now second, and McCrunch is going up fourth on the outside. The Dragon Reborn off the speed is fifth. Then it's Courtship on the inside, sixth, followed by Principal Interest and Avellino at the rear of the field. Ikako, Hanover, and Crush, Kill, Destroy. 27-1 opens it up. 2 wide. Captain Luke on the inside. Here comes McCrunch looking to rebound off a miscue last out. It's McCrunch. Takes 3/8 of a mile or more to clear the lead with Gingras. Settles in up front. Captain Luke pockets up for now. Remember the Alamo tracking third. Captain Bazinga fourth. And then it's the Dragon Reborn on the inside. He takes to the outside. Flushed out by Courtship. Saving ground is Principal Interest on the inside. Then Avellino, Ikako, Hanover, Crush, Kill, Destroy. Still trails 55 and 3, 28 and 2. Onto the far turn. It's McCrunch in front. Captain Luke on the inside second. Here comes the Dragon Reborn. Gears up mightily. Now third on the outside. Remember the Alamo stayed in. Captain Bazinga is fifth and vacates the cones. That's Courtship spinning his wheels. And a late move coming from Principal Interest. And he stacks to the outside with 5.5, 6 to make up. Chasing McCrunch past 3/4. 124. So it's McCrunch looking to outsprint them home. Captain Luke on the inside looking to shake loose late. The Dragon Reborn on the outside flattened out. Remember the Alamo is now third. It's McCrunch in front. Captain Luke can't catch him. McCrunch rebounds. McCrunch, then Captain Luke. Remember the Alamo in the three-way photo. Captain Bazinga or Principal Interest or the Dragon Reborn. 149 and 4. McCrunch.
McCrunch with the win, holding on there, winning nicely. And it has to be very validating, John, to have a performance like this after what happened last time.
Yes, that's for sure, and that was very impressive. That last quarter is extremely strong. This is a very talented colt. I think he'll be staying on the mile track at the Meadowlands for a while now, just to be sure that he doesn't make mistakes on any other track.
Holding off Captain Luke, who was trying early. Now, talk to me through a little bit with the tactics of what Yannick Gingras did as he moved up to make sure gradually getting in to be the pace setter for McCrunch early on in the race.
Yeah, he was very cautious around the first turn. He didn't rush him, kind of waited till everybody settled, and then he went to the front. And the fractions were moderate at best, and he certainly looks great gated when he's pacing along in the front. And then when Yannick stepped on the accelerator at the head of the stretch, he just responded and won in hand.
So driving a little bit cautiously early on, as we touched on, but certainly when he asked in the stretch, there was plenty in response. Well, Nancy Tactor, though, as a trainer, already has a nice win with McCrunch, but plenty more coming up, including the champion 2-year-old Karl, looking for his 7th straight victory. More on his story after this. Stay with us on America's Day at the Races.
Purple Haze Standardbred Adoption Program in Oxford, New York was created in 2018 by Wanda Palacini to provide training to transition for finding homes and new careers for horses. Horses are started with groundwork and then ridden in an arena before moving on. Horses at Purple Haze are then evaluated and adopted out based on abilities and temperament. If you have a horse that you care about, or if you are looking for a great pleasure horse, contact Purple Haze Standardbred Adoption Program at 518-669-2715.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
Whether you maintain a food plot on the weekends, tend to a small herd of livestock, or work in professional landscaping, New Holland's family of Workmaster and Boomer compact tractors at Clinton Tractor can get the job done. Known for delivering outstanding value for their performance, these reliable, powerful, and easy to operate New Holland compact tractors will help you tackle your to-do list while being easy on your wallet.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
ClintonTractor.net.
America's Day at the Races was honored to be recognized for the Breeders' Crown coverage at the 2023 Dan Patch Awards, receiving the prestigious President's Award as well as the Sam McKee Awards in the United States Harness Writers Association, granting those as we got a chance to be there in Orlando earlier this year in February, actually, to receive, and pretty special for me, learning a lot about harness racing throughout these shows. And I got a chance to share a table with you, John, at the Dan Patch Awards this year.
Yes, first of all, congratulations on both awards. It was a great evening. We celebrate the best of the best at the Dan Patch Awards, and it was a very exciting evening and a lot of happy people.
Absolutely, and understandably so. And we will have plenty more coverage as far as the Fox Sports Meadowlands schedule is continued. We're kicking off the season tonight with the Arthur J. Cutler. Of course, leading up to that Hambletonian that we've mentioned a couple of times in August, and then big weekend for you in October with the Breeders' Crown.
Yeah, we're excited to be back at the Meadowlands again. It's always a great event when we're at the Meadowlands, and again, that's year-end championship racing, and it's the best we have to offer.
Can't wait for that. Of course, the Hambletonian, kind of the peak of the sport of harness racing. But for today, it's McCrunch back into the winner's circle. A miscue last time out makes amends big time today.
He sure did, and he was impressive doing it.
$3.60 winner. The favorite gets the win here. No upsets in race number 9. Looks like it very well could be the same case in race 10. Who can potentially get around Karl, the New Jersey Sire Stakes, 3-year-old colts and geldings? This is like 2, the 1-mile trotters. Karl is currently 1-9 on the board, and you're going to get a big price on pretty much anybody else.
Yeah, I think it's a risk on everybody else as well.
Karl, trained by Nancy Tactor, who's standing by with Jessica.
Thanks, Acacia. Nancy, everyone's eyes have been on Karl. Just describe how amazing of an animal he is.
You know, he's an absolutely incredible animal. His intelligence I think, is what really sticks out the most about him. He's just so smart. He's calm, he's cool, and he's collected even when he's in the race paddock. You know, obviously really good qualities to have as a racehorse.
He won 9 of 10 starts last season. How has he come back this year? To me, he's just all legs.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a very leggy boy, you know, which, you know, it makes him cover so much ground. You know, everything that he does is so effortlessly. I think, you know, it's just the mechanics of him. I mean, he's put together absolutely beautifully.
And Crawford Farms bred this horse, co-owns this horse with you. Just talk about the ride and the group of the ownership with them.
He's owned by a great group of ownership. You know, my mom owns a piece in him. I own a piece in him. Crawford Farms, who bred the horse, so obviously very special for them. Black Horse Racing, who I trained Manchego for, was probably my best trotter before Karl, which is kind of scary even to put them in the same sentence at this point. And then also Bender of Sweden, who I've actually never trained for before. This is their first horse that I've had for them, but they're big owners in Europe and here in the United States too. So it's a great group. We have a lot of camaraderie. We have a lot of fun when he races. You know, everybody's obviously very excited, so hopefully it continues. It's a fun ride to be on.
Over $1 million made last season. Obviously, eyes on Hamiltonian, looking to go back-to-back years with Karl. What does his kind of foreseeable future look like?
Well, you know, he has the New Jersey Sire Stakes obviously tonight, and then he has the final in 2 weeks from then. And then he's actually got a little gap in his schedule. He doesn't have anything until the end of June here back at the Meadowlands, and then he'll probably go to the Stanley Dancer and then to the Hamiltonian from there.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll send it back to Acacia.
Jessica, thank you. Great to hear from trainer Nancy Tactor and highlighting what Karl's schedule could be, obviously with that Hamiltonian circled on the calendar and kind of working backwards from that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's exactly what they would do when they were planning his schedule. And being a Jersey eligible, they can race him at the Meadowlands primarily right up until Hamiltonian time. And I think that's an advantage when you don't have to ship and change tracks and worry about changing shoes. And I think she's got him on a really good schedule that he's got every opportunity to be at his best on Hamiltonian Day.
What have you seen from Karl so far? It seems like he's just done pretty much anything that's been asked of him.
He certainly has. You know, he's just coming within a lip of being undefeated, but he hasn't gone a bad race. He's extremely talented. He's got just a high turn of speed. He's got stamina. He's got everything you want in a superstar. And I think the only thing that can really stop him from having just a tremendous career is health. As long as he can stay healthy and sound and on track the way he is right now, the upside for him is as high as a horse can be.
Champion 2-year-old, the early favorite for this year's Hamiltonian, as Jessica mentioned. Nancy winning last year in the Hamiltonian with Tactical Approach. As far as a repeat does go, we'll look for a Cutler repeat tonight with Venerate, who won the race last year. Can he turn things around to defend his title tonight?
Monmouth Park's 50-cent Win Early Pick 5 is one of the country's earliest Pick 5s, making it the perfect way to get your wagering day started. With a 12:50 post on weekends and 2 p.m. start on Fridays, the Win Early Pick 5 is home to a low 15% takeout and 6-figure pools. Start your day winning early. Play Monmouth Park's Win Early Pick 5. Win early, win often.
Gladmaster is trying to track him. 3/4 in 1:23 and 3 into the stretch of the Hambletonian. And here comes Herbie, is still in front, but he's off now, drifting out, and room at the rail. It's Blumac led, and a big move here from Gladmaster, who explodes for Campbell. Chocolatier's closing well as well, but it's Mr. Hambletonian, his 6th win in the Hambletonian. John Campbell and Gladmaster.
Mr. Hambletonian, indeed, 6 victories in the Hambletonian for John Campbell, who's sitting right here to my left. And John, you were telling me this victory in 2006 with Gladmaster was particularly special given the journey that you had taken to get to that point.
Yes, I'd had a serious injury and lost some time, and I'd lost some clients in 2003, and everything was just kind of coming back and getting better as far as my success on the track. And this was a catalyst for the rest of that year. I really picked up a lot of drives on some good horses, and it really meant a lot to me to come back and win our biggest race after being hurt.
And some really special moments throughout the history of the Hambletonian. 6 victories in that race. Obviously, you're very involved with a different side of the Hambletonian now. How special is that for you?
Oh, it's something I take very seriously. I learned from my predecessor, Tom Charters, just how important the Hambletonian is to the worldwide harness racing industry. And so I'm very proud of the Hambletonian and the events that we put on. It's just something that's very special to my heart.
Well, we could potentially be seeing a Hambletonian winner tonight in Karl, who will be your heavy favorite, as he's 1-9 right now on the board in this 10th race coming up, the 1 mile trot here for Karl, who is 10 for 11 lifetime. Here's the rest of the field, though. John, the number 1 Pickpocket is a big price, like everybody from the rail.
Yeah, everybody's going to be a long shot in this race, and Karl, as great as he is, he actually got lucky with the splits. There were 3 splits, and he didn't get in with any of the horses that finished first or second in the first leg. So it's just a tall order for any of these horses to get within a couple lengths of him.
Tall order. We saw Rocket Man Hill go by. There's the 3 Lockheed Martin. Here is Karl, your heavy favorite.
Yeah, he's got a charismatic look about him, and the faster he goes, the better he looks.
Duke of Walner up next, a horse that at times has shown a little bit of forward position.
Yes, he raced well last week, but I just don't think a horse in this same caliber or league as Karl.
7 reps coming up next. David Miller, the driver.
Coming off a couple of breaks. Again, I think David will have to be a little cautious and just try and get him around the track and hopefully get a check with him by the looks of his card.
And Tony Adams to the outside.
He's kind of an interesting looking horse. He showed some ability last week, and his qualifier is quite impressive. The last quarter, he trotted home 26-1. I think he would maybe have as much ability as anybody next to Karl in this field.
That is the big question. There he is, Karl, your heavy favorite. Can anybody get around him? Gabe and Jessica, we got a chance to see him flourish as a 2-year-old. What does Karl do now as a 3-year-old?
We're not sure. I don't think we've quite seen the bottom of him yet. He was so strong in that first leg of the New Jersey Sire Stakes. And I read an article that Dave Little put out. He actually hit the wheel of that bike last time out, so they had to order an extra large bike for him. That just explains how beautiful his stride is and how much ground he covers.
Yeah, that race bike was delivered tonight, by the way, here to the tracks. They do have it here in time for the race, but, he's just a magnificent animal. 10 of 11, as Johnny alluded to a little earlier on the broadcast. His only loss, Jess, was by a nose. And it was a race where his footing was not too great. Over the Red Mile, he was defeated by TCI, who's another very good trotter that made over $1 million last year. But Yannick Gingras noted he didn't get to kick the earplugs out. These horses will wear earplugs at times, and they like to kick those out, at the top of the stretch, and really when business starts to pick up, hoping a horse will take back off. He was a little nervous to do so because the horse wasn't getting his footing over the track that day. He said after the wire, just to test it, he kicked the earplugs out, and the horse absolutely exploded. So his only loss, he was so game. It's such a great story. Bred by the Crawford Farms. They got a beautiful property up in New York, down in Kentucky as well. They stayed in as a co-owner here. They're great for the sport, support all the horse retirement and what have you. But Karl's just a great story. I mean, if the Hambletonian, the Kentucky Derby of harness racing was held tomorrow, I think Karl will be 1-5. That's how much talent that this colt has. Many knowledgeable people that have been around the game a long time, think this could be one of the all all-time greats, and we're happy to have him here tonight to see his second start back as a 3-year-old.
You know, speaking of a cool story, he's out of an RC royalty mare, Ava Licious, who's named after Michelle's daughter. Karl's actually named after another family member as well. But I want to talk about the tactics of him really quickly. Gabe, we see on the program at the quarter, he's usually sitting before he takes the lead at the half, 3/4. Last week, we kind of saw a little bit different. He didn't quite move to the outside until just at the half, and then he made his way to the front. So I really like that. Almost a versatility worked into him.
Well, it's going to be a little tricky to manage Karl throughout this season, Jess, because I think most times that you look up at that odds board, he's going to be 1-9 or 1-5. He looks that much the best. So I think they just don't want to continue to send the horse on the lead every single start, maybe get him a little hot throughout the course of a long season. So I think they're trying to keep him nice, calm, and relaxed. And anytime they can get him to sit and track for a bit, maybe to pounce late, that just is going to do better to benefit him down the road.
There's plenty of long shots underneath of Karl, obviously, with him being 1-9. Tony Adams will start from post 7 for trainer driver Aki Svanstedt. He's another horse coming off of just one lone qualifier, but he closed very nicely. 26-1, 55-3. We've iterated this multiple times on the show tonight. Aki's got him ready for a start off the bench.
Yes, he really does. And the qualifier was very good, Jess, because I took a look back at that. He actually got away far back at the qualifier. He was 7th at the top of the stretch, but he closed. He was beaten at less than 2 lengths there. He ended up finishing 5th, but really a flying finish. Now, do I think he can step and beat Karl? Absolutely not. But I think Tony Adams does figure in this spot tonight. Love that qualifier that he got under his belt. It's not a terrible betting race, Jess, even if you think Karl's invincible, which I do. I'm not sure I've ever met a 1-9 shot I did not like, and I certainly like Karl here in this spot. But it's a pretty wide open underneath. So when you got a big favorite on top here, I think you can, maybe take a shot because the exotic still should be okay, as competitive as it is behind Karl.
A horse, I think, who broke plenty of hearts last season, including his connections, Duke of Walner. So much talent in this son of Walner. He just, couldn't quite get the miles finished. He was 1-9 last season. You saw plenty of him down in Kentucky. We saw plenty of him here in the state of New Jersey. He's got the speed in him.
Yeah, he was with us at the Red Mile. He actually finished a length and 3/4 behind Karl in one of the $400,000 Kentucky finals down there. So Duke of Walters, held his own with good company. It's just like you said, Jess, he has a tough time delivering that knockout punch. He likes to finish. He's close, but he just has not exploded as we thought when we first saw him burst on the scene as a 2-year-old.
The track is definitely fast tonight. We've seen plenty of nice speedy miles. On the pacing side, Karl's 1-9. We're kind of curious to see what will happen tonight. Acacia.
He's a heavy favorite, and rightfully so. Jess, excited to see him. And John, on this show, over the last couple of years, we've gotten to see some really special horses. Obviously, Bulldog Hanover coming to mind. How important are horses that keep winning and big stars to the sport in order to attract fans wanting to come and see them?
Oh, it's imperative. People love to see horses that are exceptional. They can do something that can get them out of their seats when they're coming down the stretch. Certainly, Bulldog could do that.
Yeah.
We go back in time, some beach somewhere could do that. Muscle Hill could do that. Karl has the potential to do that moving forward.
He's a short price right now. I wanted to touch on something that Gabe had mentioned about pulling the earplugs. Can you talk us through a little bit about what that will do for a horse? Pop the plugs, as you hear the phrase.
Well, if we put earplugs in them, it keeps them calmer the first part of the mile. And as a driver, when you plug their ears, you can rate them so much better. But you don't want to be rating them the last quarter. You want as much speed as possible. So the earplugs are on a string, comes back to the stirrup. You just move your foot over and kick the plugs out of them. And if they're not too tired, they'll accelerate, and you'll get more out of them with the earplugs out that last quarter.
And horses, they really react so much more to sound. They're very, very sensitive in what they hear, and being able to be more aware of what's happening around them.
Definitely, and many times sound will make them go faster than even touching them with the whip. They do react very well to sound, and sometimes, many times, when you're trying to be careful with a horse or a trotter in the first, they respect soothing sounds as well.
There he is, Karl. You can get a good look of what Jess was touching on earlier about how he's all leg in the way that he moves. A lovely moving horse.
Yeah, he does. He stands way up off the ground. He takes big strides. He's just sometimes horses that big and with legs that aren't as good at gated, but he is so efficiently gated. He's just a true athlete.
The mechanics of the stride coming through. He is a very short price. Could have a chance to see something very special this evening and continuing on what could be a very big year for Karl, the champion 2-year-old, back as a 3-year-old with some big dreams for this year. New Jersey Sire Stakes, second leg, the 3-year-old trotters coming up. Here's Ken Workington.
6 consecutive wins. The Dan Patch Award winning millionaire Karl is 1-9, the others in double figures. Race 10, New Jersey Sire Stakes. Here they come. Three-year-olds off and trotting. 7 reps gets the first call. Lockheed Martin and Rocketman Hill. As Karl looked to time the gate there, he's in the early mix with Pickpocket on the rail into the first turn. Rocketman Hill looking to give it up now to Lockheed Martin on the outside. Looking to rebound off some breaks last week. Pickpocket is third. Gap at 2-3 to Karl, unhurried fourth. He'll tuck in front of Duke of Walner as they pass the opening quarter. Then comes Tony Adams on the inside, and 7 reps is the trailer. Single file off a quarter. A crisp 27-1. So it's Lockheed Martin, 70-1 on the board here. Looking to back it down and tap the brakes. Andrew McCarthy and Lockheed Martin rations out speed here with Rocketman Hill on the inside second. Pickpocket is third, and Karl looks anxious to go on fourth. So they get jammed up a bit here. Then Duke of Walner hoping to follow him. Then comes Tony Adams. 7 reps is still trailing, still single file. And Lockheed Martin in 56-4, dictating soft fractions here. That was 29-3 in the second quarter for Lockheed Martin, looking to go all the way. Rocketman Hill, perfect 2-hole ride, and here comes Karl. He gets in gear. He was fourth, now third on the outside and gaining. So they head to 3 quarters. Pickpocket back to fourth on the inside. Then it's Duke of Walner and Tony Adams, and 7 reps passing 3 quarters. Lockheed Martin and Karl up alongside to say hello. It's those two together. And right there's Rocketman Hill, third, 3 quarters, 1:25-4. Into the stretch drive, and Karl methodically steamrolls to the top and draws clear. With authority, it's Karl, leaving Lockheed Martin in his wake. Some late trot now from Tony Adams, and in between them, Pickpocket. Karl is all alone. He's in a world of his own. Goes 2 for 2 to start his 3-year-old season. Karl on cruise control. Then Tony Adams, then tight, Duke of Walner or Lockheed Martin. 1:52-2, the incomparable Karl.
Cruise control, it's a good word for it, Ken. Karl, much the best in here, as it was pretty special to see what he was able to do in this spot, and pretty exciting about what the year might hold.
It sure is, and he's off to a great start. These horses know the difference between winning and losing, and when he can win his first two races this easily, it's just building confidence. It's like if you don't give a guy a 2.5-foot putt and he knocks it right in the middle, you're just building confidence, and that's what's happening with Karl. He's off to a tremendous start for his 3-year-old year.
You can just see the confidence that Yannick has with him as well.
Yeah, and it always gets tougher as you go along. He's going to run into more competition as he goes along. His next start is going to be in with the winners of the other 2 divisions. But knowing that just how good he is, and he can just take his time and he can trot by them at any time, it just gives Yannick the confidence to sit back that first half, and as I said, that's just building confidence for Karl moving forward.
You think he can take a little bit of a sigh of relief now too?
Well, yeah, I don't think he was that worried. I don't think he took a deep breath at all, Yannick. I think he knew right from the time the program came out that he was going to win.
And when he did, Gabe Karl, he was pretty impressive once again.
Absolutely stunning, guys. I don't think Karl ever took a deep breath in this one. I was standing right on the track. He is a physical specimen and just absolutely rolled tonight with little effort. Just an unbelievable trotter here. Again, a huge favorite, an early favorite, of course, with the Hamiltonian for $1 million coming up the first Saturday in August. But just another impressive performance. We expected it, but they still have to step up and deliver. They don't race these things on paper. Karl, just a special horse. How about this, guys? The 99th Kentucky Derby. It was won by a special horse named Secretariat. Well, Karl, he could be a special horse of all time in the standardbred industry. He's going to go in the 99th Hamiltonian.
Pretty cool stuff. And comparing Karl to Secretariat, we'll see what the future could have for him. He very well may be a special horse, seeing him get the win tonight in the New Jersey Sire Stakes. Prices and more when we come back on America's Day at the Races.
We've had a wonderful breeding program here for years.
Pennsylvania has an excellent program. The proof of that is Harrisburg in November. That's a major event for Pennsylvania. We bring in some 6,000 individuals from all over the world. They want to buy Pennsylvania breds.
This is where the top stallions are. A lot of the top mares are here, and between the 3 major tracks here in Pennsylvania, it's perfect.
Pennsylvania has always been at the forefront, and we want to keep it there.
The Cross Country Pick 5 combines the best racing from New York with top races from around the country in one bet. Find it in your track menu and play every race day. Races are posted weekly at NYRA.com/crosscountry.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Just minutes from downtown Saratoga Springs, you'll find GMP Farm, a utopia of healing for equines and humans, offering revolutionary, customized equine care using state-of-the-art imaging and therapeutic technologies for horses of all disciplines. Immerse yourself in tranquility in our sacred spa, offering specialized spa treatments and holistic therapies to refresh and rejuvenate among tranquil mountain views. Start your journey to wellness. Visit gmpfarm.net and sacredspaandwellness.com to schedule a treatment today.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
You're watching America's Day at the Races. Pretty cool shot overhead at the city that never sleeps. John and I are here in the Aqueduct studio. Of course, we're covering live racing tonight from the Meadowlands. And there is Karl getting some well-deserved love after that victory. Yannick Gingras, the driver, he's standing by with Jess.
Thanks, Acacia. Yannick, is he as fun to drive as he is to watch race?
Oh, he is. You know, he's got gears that not many trotter ever had. You know, for sure. He's just special, and you know, and when you call on him, he's just always there.
You know, in a spot where you're the heavy favorite, is it designed to race him off the pace?
For me right now, he'll do anything. You know what I mean? But I want to race him from behind. You know, for a little bit anyway, and then so that way everybody knows he's got the option to do whatever I want him to do.
Especially to be ready for that first Saturday in August.
Exactly right.
What is his best quality? Because he just seems so professional on the racetrack, and maybe, you know, coming from 2 to 3, he's just a beautiful animal.
He is. I mean, his brain, I think. You know, I mean, of course he's got speed, right? Crazy ability. So that's probably quality number 1. But other than that, he just lets you do what you want to do. Like, he's been on the front his whole life, basically. Now decide, you know, it's time to race from behind. He's like, okay, let's do that. You know, so like, doesn't matter what you do, he's willing to learn.
Nice job.
Thank you very much.
Karl takes the second New Jersey Sire stake leg for 3-year-old Colton Gelding Trotters, 152-2. It's going to be an exciting year for Karl and his connections. We'll send it back to Acacia and John.
Jessica, thank you. We can't wait to see what the future holds for Karl, $2.10 winner. He was a short price, but obviously well merited.
Yeah, it is, and that's one of the things when you get a superstar, they're not going to pay too much.
Karl with the win, and it's the Arthur J. Cutler Memorial coming up next. 1 mile trot. That will be, I guess, kind of our co-feature, given the presence of Karl in the 10th race, but the big race on the program this evening. And here's a look at the field. You do have 2 Breeders' Crown winners from last year present in this year's Cutler field, as well as the winner of the Cutler last year in Venerate, Southwind Tyrion and Jiggy Jog, of course, the Breeders' Crown victors. And we'll see what Southwind Tyrion can do. 7-2 right now on the board, as he's a horse that has been very consistent throughout his career. Won the Breeders' Crown Open Trot last fall, and we'll see if he can add another big victory to his name. But maybe it's the mare standing in his way. Stablemate Jiggy Jog Jug, who's currently the favorite for this year's Cutler.
Whether you maintain a food plot on the weekends, tend to a small herd of livestock, or work in professional landscaping, New Holland's family of Workmaster and Boomer compact tractors at Clinton Tractor can get the job done. Known for delivering outstanding value for their performance, these reliable, powerful, and easy to operate New Holland compact tractors will help you tackle your to-do list while being easy on your wallet.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
ClintonTractor.net.
Heavy traffic as they trot for home. It's Academic 122-4 in the stretch of the Arthur J. Cutler Memorial. And they come after and get to It's Academic. Game first over. Venerate and the White Knight on the inside. Hill Exotic with late trot between horses. Rattle My Cage. Venerate almost home at 7-2. Venerate and the White Knight in the Cutler.
Venerate winning the 2023 Cutler, and he was best in that spot. Now, John, he'll try to defend his title tonight, but it looks like he'll need to turn his form around a little bit to do so.
Yes, I can't imagine how frustrating it must be to train Venerate. Andy Miller and Julie Miller trained him when he was young. Marcus Melander has taken over the last 2 years, but he's the only thing consistent about him is his inconsistency.
Yeah.
He's got tremendous ability, he's a propensity to go off stride, and it just must be so frustrating to train that horse.
Bit of a quirky horse who obviously has the talent, and he's a big price this year, but it is the Breeders' Crown horses, Jiggy Jog and Southwind Tyrion, taking most of the attention. For a little bit of a background on what the Arthur J. Cutler memorializes tonight and the individual that this race is named for, let's go to Gabe with a very special guest.
Thanks so much. I'm standing by here with Chairman and CEO of the New Meadowlands Racetrack, Mr. Jeff Gorell. And Jeff, it's a special night, I know, here at the Meadowlands. It really kicks off the championship meet, but this is a really special race for you tonight, the Arthur Cutler Memorial.
Yeah, it sure is. Artie was a close friend, loved the horses. We came here all the time. You know, we always left here broke. Back in the day, you had to make sure you had the money for tolls to get through the. But Artie had a good deal because he owned restaurants. So when we got into the city, he would say, stop at the restaurant a second. And I knew he was going in the cash register, taking out the money he lost. And I'm sitting here, wait a second, you know. So Artie, it's a tragedy. He loved the game. And we used to come here at least once a week. And Funny thing is that I met him because he wanted to open a Chinese restaurant in Times Square. And I told him he should open up Carmine's because I lived on the Upper West Side and Carmine's was always packed. You can never get in. He says, nah, Carmine's, I don't want to. I said, well, if you want to open a Chinese restaurant, you have to open Carmine's. So he said, okay, if I have to. And I said, oh, and by the way, you have to go partners with me on the horses if you want to open up Carmine's.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Carmine's was named after Carmine Abatello, who was one of the leading drivers in that era.
Absolutely. He said when he went to get his liquor license, they looked at him like, Carmine's, this guy must be connected. And he said, you know, where'd you get that name? And he said, I named it's after Carmine Abatello. And the guy was a harness fan. He says, oh, I love Carmine. He's my favorite driver. Stamped the liquor license right there. And fortunately, Artie was able to meet Carmine before he passed away here at the Meadowlands.
You know, sounds like a great character, and we miss him for sure. Talk to us about the relationship with Naira, the guys at Fox Sports. Great to kick off the championship meet here at the Meadowlands, the major stakes night, and get national TV coverage.
Well, Mark Holliday, who is chairman of Naira, he used to sit with his father in the old grandstand, and my box was right next to his father's box, and his father would bring Mark to the track. So I've known Mark since he was a kid, and Mark switched. His father loved the standardbreds. Mark, you know, wanted to show off, so he's into the thoroughbreds, and he's a good friend, and he runs SL Green, and the governor picked him to run Naira. So I got a chance to say, hey, you know, what about putting this on TV? And he introduced me to the people that run Naira for him and Naira Bets, and it's been great. And my hat's off to Acacia, who does a great job. And I know she has to stay up late to do this show because she usually goes to sleep at 8 o'clock. So hats off to you, Acacia.
And on that note, Acacia, we're going to send back to you. We're so happy to be here to kick off a summer of national TV coverage here at the Big M.
We're very happy to, but now, Jeff, it's usually like 9:30, not quite 8 o'clock, but thank you very much for that. And Jeff has been incredibly kind to all of us here, and we're so thrilled to have this partnership and be able to bring this TV coverage to such a great racing product.
It's certainly been advantageous for the harness racing industry to have the national audience, and we couldn't be happier with the telecast from the Hamiltonian Society standpoint. The Breeders' Crown and Hamiltonian telecasts have just been phenomenal.
Some wonderful stories that Jeff told as well. The story behind the Arthur J. Cutler Memorial and a really special individual that we get a chance to celebrate this evening.
Yes, it is, and he was a dear friend of Jeff's. That comes through in the interview, and he's honored him. And I think, you know, up until COVID, they had a family reunion almost every year at the Cutler, and so it's been a special night for Jeff overall this time.
Horses on the track for the Cutler this year. Again, it's a 1 mile trot. Saw the first couple of entrants go by. Dover in Motion, Asteroid, and Periculum. And up next will be the 4 Hill Exotic, as this horse will be one that definitely has a little bit of early speed to bring to the party.
He does. He'll be forwardly placed for sure. I think this is a step up for him. He's really good on the half-mile track over at Yonkers. I don't think the mile track really is his best race.
Second choice, here's Southwind Tyrion, winner of the Breeders' Crown Open Trot.
I expect him to race really well. I think he will be forwardly placed in the race as well, and I don't see a lot of early speed. He might be able to get to the front and control the pace and be difficult to run down.
Next will be last year's winner of the Cutler, Venerate. We already talked about how inconsistent he is, and that's showing with his odds on the board right now.
Yes, it is, and it would be hard to make a wager with much confidence on him. But again, if he behaves himself and the trip works out, he's certainly capable. He has all kinds of ability. It's just his lack of consistency that has held him back his whole career.
The 5-year-old mare, Jiggy Jog, she won the Breeders' Crown Open Mares back in the fall. But as Justin Gate touched on at the top of the show, she's been effective against males before, and we've seen females in these races have success too.
Yeah, they have historically. She beat them as a 4-year-old. I expect her to be bigger, stronger as a 5-year-old. I think she will compete against the males throughout the year and be successful. I'm a big Jiggy Jog fan. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is it's her first start. I don't think Dexter will be that aggressive with her the first half of the mile, but she might be a little bit too far back. But if the fractions are honest and she's anywhere close, she's capable of running any trotter in the country down.
Dexter Dunn, the driver of Jiggy Jog. There's delayed Hanover. For more on this field, let's go back to Justin Gabe.
Thanks, Acacia. Gabe and I just got a good look at the horses scoring down. We heard you guys kind of talking about Jiggy Jog. She loves to target, but she can do it on the front end as well. But Aki's scoring down Southwind Tyrion pretty aggressively.
Yeah, caught a good look at him just going by us here. That tells me that he's going to be very aggressive off the gate here with Southwind Tyrion. He was scoring him down very aggressively. I know it's his first start, off a long layoff, but I love the way that he was being aggressive with him on the track, getting him geared up. I think he may try and blast here from post 5. And I'm like John on Jiggy Jog. He's exactly right. She can gun down anyone, but the question is, will she leave herself a little bit too much work to do if she decides to race from off the pace? And she's an awfully short price here at even money.
And especially with having an outside post, there is speed to her inside. And going back to Southwind Tyrion, 25 lifetime starts for a 6-year-old. He battled injuries at the age of 3, only had a couple of starts at the age of 4. So they really had that planned by design last year to race him in some overnight events and then really get things kicked off at here in the Cashman, and then, going over to Yonkers, and then really aiming him for the end of the year, and it really paid off for him. Fresh legs at the end of a season when this season is long.
It really is, Justin, and it is very rare, especially in standardbred racing, to have a 6-year-old with just 25 career starts. I mean, there are horses that will race 40 times sometimes in the same year.
Right.
I mean, these are very durable horses, but one thing about it, when he shows up, he's ready to rock and roll. 25 career starts, he's won 13 of those, so he's won over half his starts. He's just shy of $1 million. If he picks up a nice finish tonight in the top 3, he'll surge past $1 million. So one thing about him, when he's here, he's ready to roll.
You use 2 other horses in your business, Hill Exotic and Dover in Motion. Dover in Motion is taking more of the money on the tote board, gets the rail to work with 3-1. He has been a killer in the Midwest. It's a step up in class, but you can't knock consistency coming into races like this.
Jess, you're absolutely right. A lot of sentimental support here for Dover in Motion. He has been a tear of that Midwest circuit. This is a big step up. I'm a little shocked he's taking this much support, 3-1. He's beaten up some good trotters there, the state of Ohio, the state of Indiana, but this is a step up to the major leagues. Let's call it AAA out there. He's up with the big boys tonight. He's been razor sharp, first or second in all 6 tries this season, including 4 wins, but this is a different league he's in here with these tonight. We'll see if he can get it done.
I'm with the mare, Jiggy Jog. Gabe's going to stick with Southwind Tyrion. We'll send it back to Acacia and John.
We'll see if the Breeders' Crown winners can get the job done in here. Jess and Gabe, thank you. John, your thoughts? Do you prefer either one of those or somebody else?
I think Southwind Tyrion is maybe going to get the better trip, be up near the front, and I don't think the middle half is going to be that hard. It might be a little difficult for Jiggy Jog. However, if she's close and the fractions are anywhere near honest, I wouldn't be surprised if she runs everybody down.
Jess touched on the scoring down, the warm-up, the prep of what we saw from Ake Sponstead with Southwind Tyrion. What kind of clues does that give you?
I agree with Gabe. I think he's going to be firing out of the gate. I think he's getting his attention, make sure he's got his feet under him, and wants him out of the gate in fine order.
The Arthur J. Cutler Memorial coming up next. Ken Workington has the call here on FS2.
07, the 5 Southwind Tyrion. Also looking to pick up where he left off at 3-1. 3-1 on the 1. Dover in Motion. Pride of Indiana. On gate for race 11, the Cutler. Here they come. And they're off and trotting. Hill Exotics out fast. Jiggy Jog flashing a bit of early step there. Asteroid from the inside steps out. 3 across the track here as Dover in Motion cuts the corner into 4th position. Periculum got away in 5th now, and Jiggy Jog is going up on the outside. Then it's Southwind Tyrion, followed by Venerate. And the early trailer is Delayed Hanover. Trotting past the opening quarter, Jingra's taken charge with Hill Exotic. And they're not moving very fast here. Asteroid second, 27 and 3 across the backstretch they go. Hill Exotic sets the pace. Asteroid trotting in second. It's Dover in Motion third, and Jiggy Jog is 4th, and Periculum 5th on the cone. Southwind Tyrion is 6th. Then comes Venerate 7th, and Delayed Hanover is 8th. No changes, single file, following Hill Exotic. Hill Exotic gets 17-1 on the board, leads the way and controls it. Asteroid, a perfect 2-hole ride, 55 and 3, 28 second quarter. Dover in motion, launches to the outside. Dave Miller's had enough now, and he's taking aim and going in attack mode. So Jiggy Jog picks up that live cover, second over. Periculum gapping the cover, but third over, just 5.5, 6 from the lead. And then comes on the inside, Southwind Tyrion will need some racing room. Venerate has excess cover, fourth over right now. And Delayed Hanover from the inside. They're stride for stride past three-quarters as Dover in motion on the outside is coming on, taking it to Hill Exotic. And all set to come 3 wide. Jiggy Jog 1:23 and 3 into the stretch drive of the Cutler. And Dover in motion strikes the lead, drifts up, but here comes Jiggy Jog doing her thing. A familiar late lunge. It's Jiggy Jog, and she picks up where she left off last year. The champion Jiggy Jog. Jiggy Jog, then tight, Asteroid, or Dover in motion, then Venerate. 150 flat.
Jiggy Jog wins the Cutler. The mare beats the boys. She's a champion. She comes back and does it today, and she was the one that got a great trip in this spot.
She sure did, Acacia. That's not the way I saw the race unfolding before the start, but when Aki didn't leave with Southwind Tyrion and Dexter was able to find a spot fourth, and I knew going to the quarter he was going to be able to follow Dover in motion. When she gets a trip like that, she's almost unbeatable.
She is just so hickory, so solid. She had a terrific 2023, 8 for 11 last year. And as you heard in Ken's call, picking up where she left off. And that's always encouraging, too, when you see them coming back now as a 5-year-old, still showing that good form.
Yes, I'm sure she's going to be stronger physically than she was last year. But it's always an unknown coming back from that layoff. And she just came back. There's no question about her form right now. And I think as long as she stays healthy, she's going to have another great year.
Gabe, we said several times throughout this show that Aki has them ready to roll off the bench, and boy, did that prove true tonight.
Boy, Acacia, did he ever. And, Jiggy Jog, we had some questions coming in, and she had some answers here tonight. The trip couldn't set up any better there. Dexter got away mid-pack. Got that cover from a very game Dover in motion. He certainly proved his merit to be on this big of a stage here tonight. He raced extremely well. Unfortunately, he lost out of the place photo there to be third, but Jiggy Jog lived up to the name because that's exactly what she did. She jogged in here tonight. She came back very fresh off that layoff. Again, we mentioned earlier, it had been since Thanksgiving since she had last raced. This is a talented mare. She made over $1 million last year at 11 starts, and she starts to tack onto the bankroll here in her 5-year-old campaign.
Well, I think there's only one answer. It was Jess's pink jacket that got the job done tonight.
It didn't hurt, that's for sure, Acacia, but that's certainly girl power tonight with Nancy Tuchter's Karl being so impressive and Jiggy Jog-esque coming back in this race and getting off to a great start for her 2024 campaign.
As you heard from Gabe, she certainly lived up to her name this evening. Jiggy Jog, big fan of this mare, and now back as a 5-year-old and picking up this victory in the Cutler, taking on the males. There she is, doing her thing and winning races. That's what she does, and she does it well. Trained by Ake Svanstedt, Dexter Dunn, the driver. Prices, reactions, and more when we come back.
Purple Haze Standardbred Adoption Program in Oxford, New York was created in 2018 by Wanda Palacini to provide training to transition for finding homes and new careers for horses. Horses are started with groundwork and then ridden in an arena before moving on. Horses at Purple Haze are then evaluated and adopted out based on abilities and temperament. If you have a horse that you care about, or if you're looking for a great pleasure horse, contact Purple Haze Standardbred Adoption Program at 518-669-2715.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
They're coming down for the finish, and it is Silver State.
140, 140, 140, 140 miles on.
Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Breeding in New York State just got a whole lot greener. Starting in 2026 with 2-year-olds and expanding in 2027 to include 3-year-olds and up, New York breds on the Naira circuit will be offered purses matching the race's open company counterpart. That's a nearly 20% increase per race compared to 2023. Bowling season is in full swing. There's still time to take advantage of New York's better than ever state bred incentives. Visit naira.com/nybreds for more info.
We're back on America's Day at the races, and there are the scenes following the Arthur J. Cutler Memorial Jiggy Jog, the victress here, and she looks like she's ready to go do it again.
Yeah, she's full of herself coming back to that winner's circle, and it's not like she's not familiar with it. She's been there many times.
There she is, getting a great trip, positioned perfectly by Dexter Dunn, and able to move just at the right time to defeat the males in the Cutler.
Yeah, and then, again, this goes back to confidence for her. She gets a really good trip. This is a perfect trip for her. She comes through the stretch, wins in hand. It just bodes well for her moving forward to get a race like that because, as I said, they know the difference between winning and losing.
She ended up going off as your favorite, too, the betting public. In the Jiggy Jog fan club as well, $3.80 winner. Big price underneath with Asteroid running well after that good qualifier.
Yeah, it's a horse of Aki's that finished second. We just didn't think it would be that one. And but that turned into a really good, nice exactor for anybody that was fortunate enough to hit it.
Dexter Dunn, the driver of the winner, though, he's standing by with Gabe.
Thanks so much, Acacia, standing by with winning driver Dexter Dunn. And Dexter, was this as easy as it looked?
Yeah, you know, she's a special mare, Gabe. Had an amazing year last year, and you know, she's actually grown a lot. You know, I've seen her this year. I was like, she's got so much bigger and filled out. So, yeah, she was pretty fresh tonight, though, post-parade. Usually she's pretty relaxed and pretty chill, but I think she's happy to be back at the races.
You had an outside post. You had some missed time. You know, what was the game plan going on? You seemed to float out of there. You got a spot in mid-pack. Was that the plan going in?
Yeah, I mean, there was no plan. Marky and Sire leave it up to me. She wanted to leave out there pretty quick, so I sort of had to go with her a little bit, and then we got a good spot and got great cover after that. And, you know, when I moved her over there off Davy's helmet, she really let down the speed we know she's got.
And when the horses had a layoff like that, it's always tough to tell exactly how fresh they're going to come back. Obviously, she's made over $1 million last year at the age of 4. Really, it seems to be poised for a big 5-year-old campaign as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed everything goes good. I mean, I think she'll be racing the boys most of the year this year, so she's going to have to be on top of her game. But like I said, she's a special mare, Gabe. So, you know, she only the one qualifier today, but Aki and Sire have them ready. They get a lot of miles under their legs, and she's ready to go tonight.
All right, congratulations, Dexter. Guys, put another mare in the books for the Arthur Cutler Memorial. 5 of the last 10 editions, the mares have beaten the boys.
Pretty impressive stats there, Gabe. Thank you, Jiggy Jog, with the win. And, you know, we touched on it in the winner's circle. Dexter talked about it, how fresh she was coming back. It has to be so encouraging for a driver, too, to see that your horse is ready coming back off the bench.
Yeah, that's something that, you know, Dexter's certainly looking forward to. But, again, you're always apprehensive until that first start. You know, he did say she was a little fresher in the post-parade, and once she gets a couple starts, she'll settle in and she'll be herself. But it's setting up well, and I'm sure Dexter's looking forward to her for each and every start.
Well, we talked about some of the big stars, the equine stars on the program tonight, and so far they've lived up to the billing with impressive performances from Karl and Jiggy Jog. We still have one more live race from the Meadowlands to bring you. More on that after this. Jiggy Jog, so cool to see her launch her stuff tonight.
General admission tickets are on sale now for the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival at Saratoga, June 6th through 9th. Admission is just $10 on Thursday as well as on Sunday for this historic event. Visit belmontstakes.com/tickets today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
And they come to the top of the stretch, and Mach 3 is looking to pour it on under a Campbell hand drive. Mach 3 is out there now with a 3-length lead. Mini-Me is full out chasing in second. McArdle trying to rally into it. All-American Ingot fourth on the outside. Mach 3 is almost there. McArdle from between horses into second. John Campbell, his 7th Meadowlands pace victory.
And you heard it there in the call of the 2002 Meadowlands Pace with Mach 3 winning. That was the 7th win for my co-host here tonight in the Meadowlands Pace, winning those big races. And that looked like a pretty fun trip there.
It was, and down the backstretch I moved him, and he just had a tremendous amount of acceleration. He went from 4th or 5th on the rail right to the front in a matter of strides, and I was able to rate him the 3rd quarter, and he still had plenty coming home. He was really in top form at that time, but it was a really exceptional performance.
And there they are, the 7 wins in the Meadowlands Pace. So what's the secret?
Good horses. I had good horses, certainly trainers, the connections I had with the trainers, and that's the key for any driver or jockey. You got to have the right horse, you got to have the right trainers, and make the right connections.
It's all part of it, the relationships as well, and first and foremost, your dance partner, the athlete that you're there with, the incredible horses that we get a chance to see give us so many special memories on the racetrack.
Yeah, and I was fortunate to have, a lot of them, but, I didn't do any of it other than try and put them in the right position. It's the horse. They're the athlete putting on the show.
We got a chance to see some special athletes on display in the thoroughbred world over the last couple of weeks, as we are now 2 legs into the Triple Crown. The Kentucky Derby took place, as always, in the first Saturday in May. And John, I know you got a chance to have your maiden voyage to the Derby.
Yeah, it was a gift from several tracks in Ontario that gave that gift to me when I retired. And I hadn't got around to using it, and I went this year, and I just had a great time. I went with my nephew, Bill McClinchy, who's in charge of standard bred racing at Mohawk and Woodbine.
Yeah.
And it was really just a sports spectacle is what it is.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe, and I'm certainly glad I got to experience it there, and I would go back again.
Well, Mystic Dan, winner of the Kentucky Derby, defeated earlier today, finishing 2nd in the Preakness. And at least as far as racing's concerned, you and I are tied on one thing. We've both only been to the Derby once.
Yeah, I was in traffic and listened to the Preakness today. I was rooting for Mystic Dan. It's always fun when you've got a horse going for the Triple Crown. But Horse and Fret just raced unbelievably good. And how about Wayne Lucas,
Amazing.
88 years old and winning Triple Crown races.
He won his first Preakness 44 years ago.
That's just an incredible career, and hats off to him to still be on top of everything that goes into prepping these horses for those major races.
Of course, that was Seize the Gray winning the Preakness earlier today. Race 12 in the Meadowlands coming up, the 1-mile pace. Let's get more in this field from Gabe and Jessica.
Thanks, Acacia. This is quite the stacked open field, Gabe. We were talking about it a little bit early on. Top to bottom, we've got horses first start off a qualifier, Allywag Hanover, a Buckabet Hanover, 2 stakes quality horses. Bucephalus is coming into this race as a 4-year-old facing older horses, as is Ken Hanover. That's your top choice in here. He has a tremendous resume in himself.
Yeah, he really does. This is going to be a tall order because, yes, this is not technically a stakes race, Jess, but there's over $46,000 on the line here in a very good field. I mean, you've got the likes of Allywag Hanover. You mentioned him. This is a horse that made over $2.2 million. So it's a true test for a horse like Ken Hanover. That's my top choice of the 4. He hasn't raced since November. He's had a couple of qualifiers. He won both. In fact, his last was by over 12 lengths. So he won very convincingly. This is a horse that won a heat of the Little Brown Jug last year in Delaware, Ohio. He had 8 wins, bit over 400,000. Here's the key, in my opinion, Jess. Dave Miller listed on Kid Hanover, and he was also listed on the 8, a Buckabet Hanover. He opted to take the 4 Kid Hanover. I thought that was an extreme vote of confidence from Dave to choose to drive Kid Hanover in this spot tonight. I think he'll be aggressive here despite the missed time.
8 wins from 19 starts last season. He actually holds the fastest mile ever in Delaware, Ohio in that jug elimination. I assume that they're kind of prepping him for those graduate series. 3-1 on the board. The 9, Backstreet Shadow. You got to go back and watch that replay last week. Absolutely loaded ahead with pace, nowhere to go. How are they letting him get away at 7-1?
Yeah, it's a big price, Jess. The trouble is the post 9, Backstreet Shadow. No, he's got plenty of back class, 45 career wins. He's been over $1.6 million. He was racing across the way over Yonkers, over the half-mile track. Some horses don't get around a half-mile track quite as well as we know. So he raced over there, was just okay. He returned here to the Meadowlands last week. And as you said, if you want to do your homework, as we have to do as horse players, to watch a replay, this horse was absolutely loaded. He could not find a way through. He was 12-1 that night. Had he found a way through, he was going to pull off an upset. As it ended, he finished fourth. He was beaten just over a length, but it was a very good effort. Tim Tetrick's going to have his hands full tonight, Jess, with the outside post in a tricky field. But if you're looking for a sneaky long shot to toss on your ticket here in the 12th race, I think Backstreet Shadow could pull a bit of an upset.
Another long shot you use in your gimmicks underneath. The 8, a buck a bet Hanover, first start off the bench. You know, he faced his own battles last season with maybe some soreness issues, some sickness issues, but he always seemed to, you know, be there. He had 3 wins from 13 starts, faced the top dogs in Allywag Hanover and by the Missile Tattoo Artist. You know, that second qualifier was very impressive to me. Slightly off the pace, 25-3, 50-4. Dexter's back on the bike tonight.
Yeah, Dexter is back, and we know that's a good sign as he just picked up a major stakes win there in the Cutler Race 11. Good to see Dex with the big win. Now, Buckabet Hanover, again, couple concerns for me, Jess. You know, we have missed some time. He hasn't raced since November, and he races a little bit off the pace typically, so I'm worried from post 8 that he's just going to leave himself too much to do. You know, if you think about it, if he gets away 8th or 9th in this spot, the 8 of Buckabet Hanover may be double digits off the lead.
All right, it's a nice field of 9 for the open pace. The favorite on the board is the 4-year-old Vukafalis going up a win in the New Jersey Maturity. We'll send it to Acacia.
Jess and Gabe, thank you. They're almost there to the gate. John, any final thoughts?
I think Allywag Hanover is going to be forwardly placed. I don't know if he's going to be at his best his first start. And the angle on Ken Hanover, David picking him over Buckabet, I think he's going to race well.
The open pace, wide open affair with a salty group. Here's Ken Workington with the call.
Backstreet Shadow on gate, race 12, ready for start. Here they come. They're off. Maximus Mickey shoots out from between horses with Ken Hanover and Allywag Hanover. Those 3. A Buckabet Hanover and Backstreet Shadow way out there into the first turn. Belmont Royale cut the corner into 5th position. A Buckabet Hanover continues on from 6th on the outside. Then it's Vukafalis, followed by Lion Steel. Our early trailer is Some Moment Somewhere. 2 wide past the opening quarter, and it's Backstreet Shadow. Zips right out there in a torrid 26-3 to set it up. Backstreet Shadow on the engine across the backstretch. Allywag Hanover in that hot pocket spot. Ken Hanover under a tight rein in 3rd. Maximus Mickey is 4th. A Buckabet Hanover tracks along and gaps in 5th. Vukafalis looks to get underway stride for stride with Belmont Royale. And then it's Some Moment Somewhere underway from the back, and Lion Steel now the trailer. Up front, it's Backstreet Shadow, 53-4, 27-1 speed in the second quarter. Hot pace there. Backstreet Shadow continues in front as they round the far turn. And now coming after him on the outside is Maximus Mickey, and he means business. Allywag Hanover right there, locked in the box 3rd. It's a Buckabet Hanover gapping his cover, 2nd over 4th. Ken Hanover is pinned in 5th. Caught behind the staller is Vukafalis, 3rd over, has to fan out right now as they turn for home. Backstreet Shadow, 1:21 flat. Dazzling fractions. Backstreet Shadow says, catch me if you can. Maximus Mickey right there, plugs away first over. Allywag Hanover cries out for room, he's blocked. And here comes Ken Hanover, catapulting off the hot pace in deep stretch. And inching in is Maximus Mickey. An amazing effort from Maximus Mickey, then Ken Hanover, then Backstreet Shadow. Allywag Hanover, 1:48.
Maximus Mickey gets the job done at 9-2 in between, late and very, very game in the final strides.
Yes, that horse has been racing on the lead and was almost forced to race, drop in 4th around the first turn. Game effort, came first over a long way and just outgamed everybody in the stretch.
Holding off a late rally from Gabe's top selection, Ken Hanover, who performed very well tonight, just missing.
I think if he had a start or two in him, it's a different story, but still a very credible race for his first start. He paced 48-1.
Encouraging performance today, and especially given the quality of the group that he was racing against this evening. Well, that'll do it for the live racing action from the Meadowlands. As we touched on at the start of the show, there were plenty of stars on the program this evening, and we really got a chance to see that highlighted with some really nice performances tonight.
We sure did. I think we saw a burgeoning superstar in Karl. Certainly Jiggy Jog S. Pick up right where she left off, and I think she's going to be even stronger this year. So an exciting kickoff to the year, and I think there's going to be some excellent races coming up for the Fox and Ira partnership.
Well, we're really looking forward to it. And John, thank you so much for taking the time and joining tonight. Did you have fun? I hope you enjoyed your first America's Day at the Races show.
I did enjoy it. I was looking forward to it, and it was more than I expected.
Well, we appreciate it, and I'm sure you'll be very busy. And, of course, we have a lot to look forward to the first Saturday in August with the Hambletonian.
Absolutely. We can't wait for that.
Plenty of excitement coming up. We saw the early favorite for the Hambletonian in Karl tonight, victorious for trainer Nancy Tactor. A lot more exciting performances. There is the winner of race 12, Maximus Mickey. Be sure to check your local listings. We'll be back on America's Day at the Races starting at 12:30 Eastern tomorrow. Thanks for joining us this evening. Thanks as well on behalf of Jessica Otten, Gabe Pruitt, John Campbell. I'm Acacia Clement. Good night, everybody.
We've had a wonderful breeding program here for years.
Pennsylvania has an excellent program. The proof of that is Harrisburg in November. That's a major event for Pennsylvania. We bring in some 6,000 individuals from all over the world. They want to buy Pennsylvania breds.
This is where the top stallions are. A lot of the top mares are here, and between the three major tracks here in Pennsylvania, it's perfect.
Pennsylvania has always been at the forefront, and we want to keep it there.
For centuries, the bond between horse and human has been forged in trust and hands-on care. Now the sport of thoroughbred racing is combining those timeless traditions with cutting-edge technology to raise our standards of equine safety to the highest level. Wearable biometric devices measure subtle changes in a horse's stride to help optimize safety and performance. State-of-the-art imaging technology helps pinpoint areas of potential concern for early intervention by expert veterinarians. And the sport's new independent regulator, the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Authority, is using AI and enhanced data modeling to help prevent injury.
Opening quarter mile was a quick one.
From sunrise to sunset, there's an ecosystem of trust and care and a commitment to well-being. So win or lose, it's safety that runs first. To learn more, visit safetyrunsfirst.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.